Netflix, one of the biggest top streaming services of all time. Did you actually even know that Blockbuster had an opportunity to buy Netflix? Anyway, that's besides the point. So, in this episode of Streaming Wars Horror Edition, we are tackling Netflix. Yes, one of the biggest, if not the hugest, grandest streaming services out there. Well, how do they stack up when it comes to horror movies? Stay tuned to find out. We love horror movies, and I wanted to take a look at all the top tier streaming services out there to see what they offer for the horror lovers out there. What is the best platform? How is it easy to find stuff? Is there a variety of stuff? That is where I came up with the concept of Streaming Wars Horror Edition, where we're going to take a look at some of the streaming services out there: Amazon Prime, Hulu, Shudder, Netflix, Tubi. We're going to take a look at all of them, and we're going to be judging them and ranking them. So, looking at Netflix's own actual site, there's actually three tiers that you can go for. So $8.99 is the basic. You can see that it's going to get you just one streaming. It's going to get unlimited movies and TV shows watching on your laptop, obviously, but there's no HD, so not that great. The standard is actually $13.99, and it's going to get you pretty much everything that the basic would get you, but it's going to allow for HD available. So you're going to be able to watch things like the newer Netflix horror movies in HD. Now, premium is where you probably would have, like, I don't know, like a household or friends and family, because it's going to give you actually 4 screens that you can watch. It's going to give you everything a little bit more. Obviously, HD is available, and the Ultra HD is on that criteria. So the primary device I use is a brand new Chromecast that Google just put out. We're going to take a look at Netflix today, like I said. So right when the open of the app, they hit you with big bold, these are our top like Netflix choices. It's all mostly stuff that they produce or stuff they're kind of like pushing out. So scrolling down, you'll find that there's horror movies listed. Now these seem like it's a great variety. I love the interface here. I like the look of it. It gives you kind of the description, if it's HD available, and I like that there's actual like clips that you can watch, and they're not just a standard like trailer playing or hey, you want to watch the trailer. Like it's an actual scene from the movie, particularly a scary scene or something. So it kind of gives you an idea visually. Kind of sets you up to see if you kind of like what you see or not, and you want to take some time into it. I like that there's a little graphic. I like that for some of these, there's a little description that will give you a little bit added detail on there. And we can see that Netflix has a lot of their own original stuff on here. So that is good. Anything with the actual N in the top left is something that Netflix either acquired or something that, is from their in-house studio. And we see that they do have a lot of overseas stuff. So if you're into like J horror or, just international horror, they do have a lot of that. And that's pretty much it on the home interface. So we're going to take a look at movies, trying to see how it's going to, it doesn't categorize different horror movies. So, there's just going to be a blanket horror movies. And I believe there might be something else of a category if you keep strolling down. Let's see. Gems, Netflix originals. Of course, they're pushing their original content. And a scary, suspenseful movie, so there is a different category. You can kind of get a little lost shuffling around here. There's violent movies, top picks, love scary movies. That's another category. I'm not quite sure what makes a scary movie different from a horror movie, but you know? Again, a lot of Netflix stuff and not a lot of like outside of their bubble kind of stuff. There's no Jason, there's no Freddy particularly on here. And really, the search function is how you're going to find stuff. It's nicely organized. I like the way it looks. I like the big bold pictures. Kind of gives you something to go by. The name, it's still the Netflix original is still up there. It's a little confusing. Like, do you search zombie movies, zombie horror movies? Is there a difference there? Like, how is stuff like placed in categories? It's kind of hard to see what's the difference between going to just something zombie related, zombie apocalypse, or zombie movies. Maybe it's a little too detailed in my opinion. So we're going to do another test here. I'm going to try to see if I can see. I'll go with witches. Let's see. So there's something down there where you can see it says the witches of Eastwick. You got witchcraft movie. So, like, again, it's maybe too detailed on what you're trying to look for as opposed to the category of it. Wish maybe there was a search function under categories and not just movie titles instead of trying to search everything. But I do like there's suggestive titles underneath the search, so that at least gives you that much. And so we're going to just do a blanket search with horror movies itself. As you can see, just going horror movies is going to show the list of everything. And you can see, obviously, on the screen, chilling horror movies, psychological horror movies, demon horror movies. So very detailed if you're looking for one precise thing. Like if you're like Friday night and you're like, ooh, I want, a demon movie or possession movie or something, you can sort of just do a really detailed search, but kind of confusing of what's all there. Obviously it says horror movies, but then there's horror, and horror is going to show you sometimes maybe TV shows are mixed in. There's no one way of like just searching movies or TVs in general. And Netflix has been adding a lot of international stuff. I like J horror, I like international stuff, Spanish horror, but at the same time, I would love for more American releases, just to see what's the difference of what we have here in the States to offer as opposed to everything just kind of being flooded on Netflix with overseas horror, as opposed to it just being, you know, a little bit mixture here and there. But it feels like lately they've just kind of been dumping a lot of international horror on here as opposed to in-house, American productions. And so right off the bat, once you get to the search, you don't really even have to type anything. If you go down underneath, there's just different categories that you can just kind of go into. You can, as we're going to explore, the horror movies tab is there, shows a lot more than if you were to type in horror movies or horror itself. It's showing you everything. So if it's a comedy horror or a TV show, movies, international, is showing pretty much a blanket across the board of everything. And so really that is sort of a look at what Netflix offers horror-wise. Interface, I kind of like it. I like the look of it. It's very clean. I like the black with the bright posters of it. So for that aspect, I'll give it like a 4 out of 5. As far as the pricing structure, okay price, I give it like a 3 out of 5. You know, the variety of content, I think it's got a little bit of everything, especially if you just kind of want to watch a lot of newer horror that you've never probably seen before. I'd give it like a 4 out of 5 on that aspect. It'd be great if they had a few more classics, or at least some kind of classics thrown in there. They seem to just be taking a lot of those movies off. So overall, Netflix is pretty decent. We're gonna see how it's gonna stack up, you know, when we dive into, you know, stuff like dedicated to horror like Shudder or something like Amazon Prime, which most people say has probably one of the best, you know, library of horror movies. So we'll see how they stack up. What do you guys think? Leave it down in the comment section. How do you feel about Netflix as far as the horror section of it? Well, that was a doozy. We took a look at Netflix. In the next episode, we'll probably tackle Amazon Prime, I believe, and then, you know, Tubi, and then Shudder, and a few others, or any other ones, suggestions that you guys want to see me tackle in future episodes of Streaming Wars Horror Edition. So that is it for the video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for the support on the channel. And we got to come up with some grand ideas for next month. It's Black History Month. I'm a black horror YouTuber. So we got to come up with some great concepts on what to do with that idea. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys on another video very, very soon. Adios.